This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concept Sports Podcast, where we discuss the latest and greatest news in the world of sports. I am Ben.
Hey, man, guys. I'm Alex. Hey.
How are you doing, Alex?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. The heat is coming back, unfortunately. It's going to be over 100 all week, so that really sucks. Last week was beautiful.
Yeah, last week was kind of nice.
Yeah.
And it's not anymore.
Well, some people like the heat. I'm not a fan.
No, I like it. I like cold more than heat. It's easier to get warm than it is to get all cooled down when it's all hot, you know?
Yeah, I'm not a heat guy, especially since I work outside. I have to deal with it. So, yeah, it's not for me. I'm already done with the summer, and it hasn't even started. We're only 2 days in. Summer started yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
no, I'm not. I have a pool, and I feel like I barely even go in it.
You're so lucky. I'd be in there every day, just to cool off, not necessarily to get a workout or swim or anything, just to go in there and take a dive in real quick and cool off.
It helps.
Absolutely. So Kevin Love's GoFundMe currently up to $75. We have a donation 23 hours ago.
You know, after the game and everything.
After the series, you might as well just pay to keep him off the bench now. So
yeah, because I mean, I guess if you think about it, everybody's on the bench right now.
I don't know. This thing is so silly. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. We do have a lot to talk about, though. We're going to be doing our NBA Finals recap show.
Excuse me. We are.
Cavaliers win Sunday night. They win the series. They win Game 7 93-89. They overcome the 3-1 deficit, which has never been happened in NBA Finals history.
Never happened.
I find it really ironic because the Warriors did the same thing to the Thunder. And now it happens to them by Cleveland. The Cavaliers end a 52-year city championship drought. It was 1964 when the Browns won, the last one before Sunday night when the Cavaliers won.
Yeah, it's about time, honestly. I mean,
you know what the longest city now is?
Detroit?
No. Think West Coast.
Do they have a team in each national?
No, they're going to be two teams. There's going to be a baseball and a football. Think West Coast. Think California.
Oakland?
No. Go lower.
San Diego.
San Diego. It's now the longest drought city.
Wow. Well, no offense to the Chargers, maybe the Padres, but that's written in a stone already. But I don't see them winning a championship this year.
You're talking about the Chargers?
I'm talking about either of them.
Well, the Padres, you might as well just throw them out of the way right now. But the Chargers, yeah, I agree.
They still have. I mean, they were the third overall pick this past year. No matter how good nobody makes that turnaround.
Leicester City made that turnaround in the Premier League.
We're talking football.
We're talking football as well.
Football. We're talking football, not football.
All right, but anyway, so the Cavaliers end up winning 93-89, as we mentioned. Did you watch the game?
I did watch the game.
I didn't know what to do, okay, because I had this game on, and then on my computer I had WWE Money in the Bank on, because I'm a huge WWE guy. So I would, go back and forth between the two. Like, if it was a match I didn't really care about, I would hit mute on the computer and watch the game. And if it was halftime, I'd hit mute on the TV and watch the computer, which was the wrestling. So I was, torn. So I had to go back and rewatch the pay-per-view because I missed a lot of it because of the game.
Okay.
So I watched all the game. It was a great game. For once, we actually had a close game. It was tied within the last 4 minutes, and then the Warriors decided, we're just not going to score anymore.
Yeah, there were some bad shots there at the end, honestly.
Okay.
I was kind of saying, that's a bad shot.
As a neutral fan, watching that game in the last 4 minutes, I was on the edge of my seat. Okay,
it was a very entertaining game.
Neither team scored until Kyrie hit that three with 55 seconds left. So for 3 minutes, both teams are going up there and shooting and missing, turning the ball over. And I'm just thinking to myself, does anyone want to win this game?
Mm-hmm.
and then Kyrie hits that massive three.
That was a nice shot with a hand in his face, too.
Yeah, Steph Curry guarding really closely. That block by LeBron on Iguodala.
Man, that was nice.
You're going to remember that forever.
Yeah, that was, well, you know what I remember, too? I legitimately thought he broke his wrist.
Oh, when he got fouled by Draymond Green?
On that dunk?
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, my.
He was down, and LeBron's like, he's not a baby. He's like, he's built like a rock.
He's built like a rock. He sure falls down like paper, though.
Well, they all do that in the NBA. So
I guess.
Well, in any sport, really. I mean, look at the NFL.
Football.
How many times do people fall down and wave their arm for pass interference? Every play, it seems like.
Quarterbacks.
Tom Brady falls down before he even gets touched all the time.
Aaron Rodgers
doesn't fall down. He runs around. He holds the ball too long, I'll tell you that much.
Don't get me started on holding the ball too long.
Okay, but anyways, so the Cavaliers here, that three by Kyrie Irving.
Clutch.
Mm-hmm. Right in the face of the MVP, the unanimous MVP, just right in his face. And then that defense by Kevin Love when Steph had the ball there, because they're down by 3, so he's going to look for a 3.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone criticizes Kevin Love, but yet he has the play of his life guarding Steph Curry. Steph Curry's crossing left and right, he's pump faking, he's doing anything he can to get Kevin Love off of him, but he's stuck to him like glue. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. Honestly, I didn't realize it was him. Like, how often it is not him.
Kevin Love,
it's Kevin Love.
We talked about him with his defense. He's not a defensive player, but
more like
that little scenario there, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was impressive on his end because he kind of just was given that ring otherwise. You know what I mean?
I'd say what he did in that last thing maybe makes up.
You would hope.
If you look at it, he had a good game in Game 7.
Yeah.
He had 9 points. He had 14 rebounds. If you look at the plus and minus, which I think is, I wouldn't necessarily say that statistic is very, very factual. I think it's kind of skewed, a little biased here. But he did have the highest plus and minus of anyone in the game at plus 19. So, you have your little GoFundMe account saying sit Kevin Love, but he contributed in Game 7, 14 rebounds. It's, 10 on the defensive side, 4 offensive rebounds. They were really attacking that offensive glass the whole series. Tristan Thompson was doing well, not necessarily in Game 7, but in the whole series. So,
J.R. Smith played kind of well.
The role players played good for Cleveland because I would mention Kevin Love while he's a max guy. I'd say he was a role player in this series and on this team.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to say he played well. Iman Shumpert had a 4-point play there in the game. So, yeah, you mentioned J.R. Smith. He hit 2 threes. He started off in the third quarter. He had like 8 points right away. So
yeah, and again, not a huge production, not a lot of output from their bench. 10 points collectively, but
yeah, they only played 3 players. So
yeah, they had a lot of did-not plays on there. Coaches' decisions, but even then too, it's not like the Warriors bench could produced as much also.
No, we looked at the Warriors bench as really being a difference. The only guy that just contributed was Livingston with 8.
Yeah, 16 points total. Not much from that. Iguodala had 7 rebounds, but he had 9 rebounds, but defensive rebounds. You'd expect to see a lot of that out of him though, so it's not like that was anything new.
I'd say the whole Warriors team, with the exception from Draymond Green, he had a great game. He had 32 points, 15 rebounds, 9 assists. He shot 11 of 15. He was 6 of 8 from 3.
47 minutes, too.
Yeah, so he played all but 1 minute.
Yeah.
So I'd say with the exception of Draymond Green, no one really stepped up in this game. Steph Curry struggled. He shot 6 of 19. Klay Thompson struggled. He shot 6 of 17. They shot collectively 6 of 24 from 3. So the Splash Brothers really struggled the whole series, really. Especially in Game 7 when you need your big-time players to step up. They didn't.
And what do you make of their decision to start Festus?
Well, as far as starting goes, I don't think that's really much of a concern. He played 11 minutes. What I remember most about Ezeli was going down the stretch there in the fourth quarter, they put him in. So then what the Cavaliers decided to do was they ran a pick and roll with Tristan Thompson. So they got the switch onto Ezeli to guard LeBron. And then Ezeli was guarding LeBron. And in the first series, he pump faked for a 3, and Ezeli fouled him. So LeBron went to the line, he made all 3 free throws. And then the next series, they did that again. Mm-hmm. And then he hit a 3 in Ezeli's face. So then Kerr decided, okay, we need to take Ezeli out. So he took out Ezeli, and he put Iguodala back in, so they back to Green at the 5. I think that was huge in that fourth quarter there, because it was really a 6-point swing when Ezeli came in. because the Cavaliers took advantage of that matchup. Give credit to Cleveland.
Yeah, and it was they. I mean, I was surprised to see Ezeli starting instead of Iguodala, honestly.
Yeah, I would have thought they would go with Green at the 5, their small lineup. Varejao played a lot, too. He played 8 minutes, so you can say the combination of Ezeli and Varejao tried to replace like a Bogut.
I'm surprised Varejao didn't play more often, knowing the team as he would,
That's
Surprised
true.
He didn't.
So collectively, Ezeli and Varejao played 19 minutes. They had 1 point and 1 rebound. So didn't get much production from the true center. Mm-hmm. So do you think the loss of Bogut hurt them in these last 2 games, especially in Game 7?
I think it takes away like the one big presence they had. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times Bogut is more of like the rim protector as well. He had a couple blocks there early on before he was injured. So I guess you can say that too. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, the loss of Bogut doesn't lose them the series.
No.
I think that Cavaliers took the series from the Warriors, not that necessarily that the Warriors choked it.
Yeah, I think that Bogut's less of a importance, more so if you look at like with Draymond missing a game, kind of,
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, it was that the Warriors' big players did not step up when the Cavaliers' big players did. Mm-hmm. LeBron triple-double in Game 7. He played 47 minutes. He really carried the team on his back. 27 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. He had 3 blocks, 2 steals. It was the LeBron James show.
Oh, yeah.
Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7.
Yeah, he played great. He really did. And, I mean, that's why he's the MVP. So you play well, you get that hardware.
We have the unanimous Finals MVP of LeBron. We had the unanimous season MVP of Steph Curry. And then we have the unanimous Rookie of the Year with Karl Anthony Towns of the Timberwolves.
Unanimous all over the place.
So 3 unanimouses. Is that even a word? I don't even know. Unanimouses?
3 unanimous decisions.
There you go. And LeBron obviously deserving this unanimous Finals MVP. He led the series in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. So every major category, he was the first player to ever do that in any series. So, Of course, he was the guy.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, he could have won it if the Warriors had won.
Do you think that would have happened?
No, but he could have.
Because I feel like he got robbed last year of winning the Finals MVP.
It's fair enough.
And this year, I think if the Warriors would have won, say for some reason the Warriors ended up winning. It was tied at 89 with 4 minutes left. Say they maybe won it by like 2 or 3. Who would have gotten the MVP?
It really depended on how the game ended, I would suppose.
Well, if you look at the points, so Curry had 17. So let's give Curry the basket. So let's say he ends at 19.
I guess Curry.
I
guess.
They should have still given it to LeBron. Would have happened, though? I agree with you. I don't think it would have.
No, it's only happened like a few times in any sport.
Yeah, I remember Jerry West did it for the Lakers. That's kind of sad.
Happened in the Cowboy Colts Super Bowl in the 70s.
Because I feel like if you look at it, when you look at the term MVP, most valuable player, the MVP of the league, if you look at the true definition of that, is LeBron. Look at every year he was in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. The best record in the NBA, best record in the East, number 1 seed, without anybody, carrying them on his back. And in the playoffs, they would lose because teams like the Celtics, the Magic did it one year. They would expose some of those matchups. In a one-game situational, it's a lot different because you have teams coming off back-to-backs, playing lesser opponents, so it's a little different there. Mm-hmm. LeBron goes to Miami. Cleveland is the worst team in the NBA for 4 years. LeBron comes back to Cleveland, and they're in the finals 2 years in a row. So he's really the MVP, the most valuable guy.
I get what you mean, yeah, especially if you're giving it to somebody who is like if you literally mean the most valuable to that team.
Right, and it never happens that way. It goes to the guy with the best stats, which it was Curry 2 years in a row. Now Curry averaged like over 30 this year, so it's really skewed.
Excuse me, yeah. I mean, and Curry was very, valuable to the Warriors this year. But I get what you're saying.
Like I would say that Draymond Green's probably the most valuable guy on the Warriors.
Yeah, I've heard that discussion before. Yeah.
I mean, he almost had a triple-double in Game 7. He's really the only guy that stepped up for the Warriors here.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, no. I'm looking at his stat line real quick. Yeah, he almost did. LeBron had a triple-double, right?
Yeah, LeBron had triple-double. He had 27, 11, and 11. And then in Game 5, he had 41 points. Man. Game 6, he had 41 points. So, I have, the series stats up here. So, LeBron for the series played 41.7 minutes, he averaged 29.7 points a game, 11.3 rebounds a game, 8.9 assists, 2.6 steals, and 2.3 blocks. So he almost averaged 30, 11, and 9, practically.
He almost averaged a triple-double.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was really only 1 assist short on average.
That's what I'm saying.
Of a triple-double the whole series, all 7 games.
That's like video game numbers.
And if you look at the Warriors, their best contributor over the series was Steph. He averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, and almost 1 steal. But he only shot 40%.
Yeah, he had a pretty bad shooting finals.
Yeah, he really struggled. Do you think it had to do anything with the injuries?
No, I don't.
I think there's probably a little contributing factor there. I'd say more so credit to the Cavaliers' defense.
Yeah, they played good defense on him all.
They really, and then Kyrie really abused him on the offensive side. I'd say Kyrie outplayed Steph in all, maybe except for Game 4. He really outplayed him in the whole series. He really dominated. So Kyrie Irving here for the series, he averaged 27 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals in 39 minutes. So the Cavaliers had 4 players averaging double figures. J.R. Smith averaged 10.6. And Tristan Thompson had a really good series, Alex. He averaged 10 and 10.
Yeah, Tristan Thompson played pretty well. Especially on Sunday, too. He was efficient on Sunday.
Yeah, he really contributed there on the offensive side and on grabbing those rebounds. He is a really underrated defender. There was times I saw him guarding Steph on like the switches and denying him the ball as Steph's trying to come off screens and juke him off the ball. So Tristan Thompson, really valuable to that team.
Yeah, no, he played a good series too.
Yeah, so credit to the Cavaliers. LeBron comes back to Cleveland with one goal in mind, to win a championship for the city, for the team, for the the state that he grew up in. And credit to LeBron, he did it. And it was, I'd say, solely because of LeBron and Kyrie, but more so on LeBron James.
I agree with you. We're going to get into what this means for the Warriors and what it kind of shows after this season of record-breaking wins for them, what this kind of means for them moving forward, what this means for this season, how we look upon this record now, and what this means for LeBron having done what he said he was going to do ever since he was a teenager, or at least saying what he wanted to do when it won for Cleveland. So we'll be right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Don't go anywhere.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we are back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, where we're discussing and recapping the NBA Finals. So, what do you think this means? Or at least, how do you think this is going to be remembered for the Warriors after this record-breaking season of wins? What do you think now that they lost the Finals? What does this mean for them?
Well, I mean, you have to say it's a disappointment. Obviously, they break the record for the most single-season wins in 1 year. Ironically, by 1 game, and yet they fall short 1 game of completing it with a championship. So you're going to look at the great regular season, but everyone's going to remember that they lost it in the finals.
I saw somebody compare it somewhat to the 2007 Patriots.
When they had the undefeated season and lost to the Giants? I could see that.
Somewhat to that. I mean, it's kind of different. You play 1 game. I feel like you have a best-of-7 series. The Patriots are probably going to take more games than they're going to lose, in that.
If they were to play the Giants in a best-of-7?
Yeah,
I would agree.
So, I mean, but football, that's what I like about football. You got 1 chance. But I still think, it's successful, but that's obviously it's not the outcome they wanted. They didn't want to walk out of this not a champion. So, it's disappointing. What do you think this means for Steph as now people are saying, is he really the unanimous MVP? Which I still think he is. He's had a great season. There's a difference, like we say, there's a huge difference between being an MVP in the regular season and being an MVP in the postseason. There's a huge difference. He was the MVP in the regular season, if you look at it like they do in terms of production and stats and such, and not quite necessarily like the MVP of a team. You have guys like DeMarcus Cousins, who is relevant because on a bad team, but he plays well. You have guys like LeBron, where you said is the reason the Cavaliers are in the forefront of the league and now the champions. You have guys that are valuable to their team, but in the sense of statistics, I still believe Steph is the MVP. So
yeah, I agree. Before I jump into that for Steph, I want to say that the Warriors were 72-9. In the playoffs, they were 15-9. So a great regular season team, but really didn't put teams away there in the postseason. Mm-hmm. They beat the Houston Rockets 4-1. So they lost a couple games there to Portland. Then we have the 3 and the 4 for the Thunder and the Cavs, respectively. Mm-hmm. So I found it really ironic that the Warriors lost 2 games all year in the regular season at home. They lose 3 in the postseason, game 1 to the Thunder, and then they lose game 5 and game 7 at home. So you look at 3-1 lead, they lose 2 out of 3 at home, where they had only lost 3 games all year. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely a letdown. So you mentioned about Steph. I think a lot of it does fall on Steph because he is the leader of this team. He is the best player on the team. He is the guy that's looked at to say, okay, you need to take us on your back. You need to step up. You need to play well. He only did that one game, game 4, 38 points. I feel like when I looked at Steph in this series, everything was forced, especially game 7. He missed a lot of open shots, which is really uncharacteristic of Steph. And a lot of those times when he forces the ball up, he can actually hits those shots in the regular season. Mm-hmm. So maybe he just had a bad couple games there. But you can't do that in the finals.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there was times where he, especially in Game 7, he was shooting, and I was just like, oh, that's a bad shot. It was rushed. It was bad. It was just thrown up. And you can't fault him because he makes them. You know what I mean? He makes those shots. It's just, you have to let things develop sometimes, especially in Game 7. You can't just, you throw a couple, just missiles up, you miss them, and you can be down, 6 points in a matter of seconds without even realizing it. You miss a couple shots in a row because you're just pressing to score, and they can convert on the other end and come down, and within a minute you can be down. So it's a weird way of play, that oftentimes I'm not always a fan of with him.
I think, to be honest, Steph got a little scared too, and a lot of this falls on his kind of play style. He is a perimeter guy. He is a smaller guy. He's not necessarily the most physically gifted, structurally built athlete. Mm-hmm. He's a small guy. He's really crafty, really shifty. I feel like that also hurt him, but near the end of the series, he got scared to attack the basket. Because what do you remember every time Steph would attack the basket? LeBron would come over and block him, just take it out of the sky,
Yeah.
And remember in Game 6, LeBron started trash-talking Steph there. That gif is going around everywhere. It's a pretty good one. But so I feel like he got a little scared there to attack the basket because he goes, okay, where's LeBron ready to block me? I remember he did that one time in Game 7 as well. So,
yeah, and he stopped short, expecting to block it, and then he still got blocked.
Yeah, and then Steph would attack, and he would try and pump fake. He would, he wasn't necessarily attacking with the same aggression. I feel like he was a little timid there because, okay, where's LeBron? He's going to come down and chase down and block the shot from me. Mm-hmm. So that kind of hurts him physically because he's not the tallest guy. LeBron's 6'9", so he's got a huge height advantage. He's probably jump higher than Steph Curry. He's more explosive. So it goes against sort of his play style because he's a perimeter guy, but I feel like he got scared and he would rely too much on the jump shot, as well as Klay Thompson. They would rely too much on the jump shot as opposed to attacking, as opposed to moving the ball around, trying to find the open guy. Harrison Barnes really struggled in this game, Game 6 and Game 7.
Yeah, he had 10 points in Game 7, 3 for 10. He made both the free throw attempts, but 3 for 10 from the field, too. He shot 50% from the three-point range, so that's not as bad. But, yeah, he played 29 minutes, didn't really, wasn't a huge factor for him.
Yeah, so I feel like the Warriors weren't really playing Warrior basketball, especially those last 3 games. They just forced everything. They weren't finding the open guy. They weren't attacking. They weren't passing the ball. Really, really timid, especially from Steph there when attacking the basket, and Klay.
Yeah, Klay. Honestly, I don't even remember hearing Klay's name that often in that game.
Game 7?
Yeah, 2 for 10 from 3. That's just that's what everybody always says. It comes down to it is great teams win the close games. Great players produce in the great games. And unfortunately, their two best players, relative best players, if you don't include Draymond in there, didn't step up in the time that they needed to step up. It's like you have. It's like Cam Newton in a sense. He was the MVP all season, and then he goes and plays in great postseason and just does not have a very good Super Bowl.
I think a lot of that has to do with the defense, the Broncos, though.
But, I know.
But anyway, so I kind of look at this as a letdown for the Warriors hugely because they went all out to break this record, which I agreed with. They should have gone for it. It'd be part of history. You only get that chance so many times, so obviously go for it. I feel like they got outmatched by maybe a better team here, though, in these last 3 games. The Cavaliers had a lot of mismatches and abused them. They played really good defense on Steph and Clay. They forced them to take contested shots. And the Warriors, don't get me wrong, they're still a great team. They're still one of the best teams in history. I wouldn't necessarily say they're better than like the 95-96 Bulls or maybe the Showtime Lakers back in the day, but they're still going to go down as one of the best teams in history, but they're going to be remembered with an asterisk next to their name for missing and losing the NBA championship.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And that leads me to say, can they come back? Can they, make it to the finals next year? And then all that, they could be better next year. They can be a better team. It's also, it's weird because nobody expected it was almost a foregone conclusion that the Warriors were just going to win it this year. People looked at it that way. So, interesting to see where they go from here.
Yeah, I think they're still going to be a great team. Don't get me wrong. And the season's over now, so they're looking at next season already. They supposedly are going to be really aggressive in free agency. They're looking at targeting maybe Dirk Nowitzki. He's going to opt out of his last deal with the Mavericks. Kevin Durant's a free agent. The CBA going up now, I believe it's at $97 million a year, so you can have technically 4 max guys. Steph's not even a max guy yet, so they could bring in Durant possibly. If they bring in Durant, I just got to say it's over, but so we'll have to see what happens there. But so the Warriors are still going to be a great team, regardless if they add anyone. They still have some of the best young players, and the great equalizer now in the NBA is the 3-point shot, and the Warriors do that the best. So I remember at halftime, the Cavaliers had 1 3-pointer, the Warriors had 10. So that was really the difference in that first half.
I do remember that, yes.
So that's the great equalizer. The Warriors had more threes than 2-point baskets in a couple of games. So if you can really capitalize and hit those threes, that 1 extra point is huge. So they're still going to be a great team, and if anything, it could make them better, learning from this experience, losing 3 games in a row, losing two of home. So I think they'll rebound. The West is really competitive, really tough. I'd say Cleveland, as it is right now, barring injuries, they're a lock to get to the finals again because the East is so bad. But the West is a lot more competitive. We'll have to see what happens in free agency.
LeBron
they're still the favorite.
Leave.
LeBron could leave. He is a free agent again. So I don't see that happening, but you never know. Yeah, no one saw him leaving from Miami. So
it's true. We're going to take one last quick break, and then we're going to come back with a little bit of a funny story, I guess, about how exactly the Cavaliers celebrated their championship. So we'll be right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Ben, would you like to tell the lovely fans about this funny story?
Yeah, real quick before we dive into some of the Cavaliers championship celebrations. They're going to have the parade tomorrow, I believe, so that will probably be huge for the city as well. But Drake loses $60,000 betting the Warriors.
Yeah, rapper, artist Drake.
Yeah. He loses it to fellow rapper French Montana. So French Montana went to remind everyone on Sunday via Snapchat, quote unquote, "'Cause you ain't believe in LeBron, I won $60,000. Drake, pay up."
That is not the best grammar I've heard in my life, but...
So, well, I mean, he's 60 grand richer, so, I mean, he's doing something right.
Betting stupid people.
Obviously, Drake probably unhappy with LeBron after ousting the Raptors in 6 games. Drake's a Toronto guy, so...
That's what you get for being a Raptor fan.
And he's a big Curry guy. He's talked about him in some of his songs, so...
Yes.
I mean, unfortunately for Drake, he's 60 grand less in his bank account, which, I mean, that probably won't faze him. That's like me and you probably having a dollar bet to these guys. Like 60 grand?
Yeah.
Probably something like that. Like, let's have a soda bet. Like, loser has to buy drinks. Like, that's what it is.
That's pretty good. I like that. I don't want to beat you soda, but okay.
Okay, and then also, you know who's winning in this series even though he lost?
Who?
Anderson Varejao.
Oh, Mr. Both teams.
So Varejao played in 31 games for the Cavs, so technically he qualifies for a championship ring, even though he lost with the Warriors.
Yeah, and I mean, you and I were talking about it. There's been guys that have played less games for teams that have won championships and have gotten rings and such, you know. So
Varejao goes down losing the series, but yeah, he has a championship ring to say for it. And I guess
is he happy about that? Or?
I don't know. I mean, I guess for Varejao, you could say if anyone to be a part of the Cavaliers franchise for so long and not be part of a winning team, I'd say he deserves it. He was with the Cavs through high and low. So for Varejao, for what he's done for the Cavaliers, for the city, I would say he deserves it. But he's going to, every time he looks at that ring, he's like, oh, great, I have a ring, and I lost that series. Mm-hmm. Like, it's always going to be in the back of his mind that I was part of the losing team that year. So, I mean, regardless, Varejao's winning, but I don't know. I think that was kind of funny.
I think it'll be the same thing. Like they'll be like, "Oh, you were a part of the all-time best winning team in NBA history," and be like, "Well, no,
only for a few games.
I wasn't there for most of this game.
I didn't play much of them, but okay. So on to what we want to talk about here. So Cavaliers win it. LeBron's emotional. He's crying. Really, I think no matter what LeBron does going on from now, he's going to be a Hall of Famer if he can win more rings. Regardless. We'll have to wait and see.
He'll be a Hall of Famer no matter what.
Yeah. I think no matter what, if he wins, even if he passes like Jordan, say he gets to 7, okay? I think regardless, this is going to be the most memorable moment for LeBron because most important because he did what he set out to accomplish. He won the championship for Cleveland. He was, he's emotional. He's screaming after the game like, "Cleveland, this is for you." He's crying. J.R. Smith's crying. So then LeBron comes off the flight from Vegas. He's got the trophy in his hand.
Doesn't drop it.
He doesn't pull the Sergio Ramos of Real Madrid and drop the Champions League trophy a few years back. And then it gets ran over by the bus. But anyway, so LeBron comes off the plane here. He's wearing an Ultimate Warrior WWE legendary shirt. He's a legendary wrestler, Hall of Famer, one of the greats. He's wearing an Ultimate Warrior shirt. So basically, he's the Ultimate Warrior for beating the Warriors. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he's wearing a Kermit the Frog sipping tea hat. Like, basically, like, I'm just going to sip my tea to silence all the haters for talking bad about me for so many years. So I thought that was great attire. That was great.
I mean, I suppose if you can pull it off.
Yeah, he pulled it off great. I don't know who else could pull that off. He silenced the critics by winning this. And yet he's the Ultimate Warrior by beating the Warriors. It's classic. So then brings us to our next guy. We have J.R. Smith here. He comes off the bench. And I'm not sure if maybe when they were partying in Vegas, if his shirt got placed in the lost and found when he took it off, or because he comes off the flight not wearing one.
Yeah, like he just didn't own a shirt.
Like he couldn't go to like a Vegas like thrift shop or a little souvenir stand at one of the casinos and get like I Heart Las Vegas or like a Circus New York whatever shirt. Like he couldn't get a shirt. Just didn't have one on. Just a hat. No shirt.
No shirt even anywhere to be seen.
No.
Nowhere to be found.
No. And J.R. Smith's been quite a character. I remember he got fined like $50,000 for untying someone's shoes during the game. I saw this picture on Twitter of his high school yearbook photo, and his quote was, "Get chicks or die trying." So he's a character, but he doesn't even have a shirt on. Like, come on, JR. You couldn't get it. At least wear your championship shirt. Like, something.
Those championship shirts are like 2 sizes too big.
Is it better than no shirt? I mean...
Fair point.
Okay, and then Kevin Love, this isn't more so for what he was wearing coming off the plane, but as they're celebrating the championship in the locker room, these guys they have on the snow goggles. It reminds me of baseball. They're pouring champagne all over the place. Mm-hmm. So Kevin Love has on a Stone Cold Steve Austin 316 shirt. He's got the Stone Cold Steve Austin belt, the championship like smoking skull belt. And what does he do? He just like pounds 2 brewskis together and just classic Stone Cold just downs them. That was great. And like it would be Kevin Love to do that. Like he looks like the most like Stone Cold. Stone Cold's he's like a hunter and like a kind of like I won't want to say a redneck, but like a wilderness guy. Like Kevin Love looks like a mountain man.
Yeah.
So it would be Kevin Love to do that. I thought that was great.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I haven't seen that yet. I have to check that out.
There's videos too. He does like vintage Stone Cold, just like pounds the 2 beers together and basically spills like half of it. And then
that's the point. Yeah, you don't even get any.
Yeah, and then he just takes like 2 sips and it's gone.
Because
that was great.
On you or on the ground.
So credit to Kevin Love going vintage Stone Cold there. Okay, so for LeBron James here, it's his 3rd ring, Alex. He does it for Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Where do you sort of rank him now in the all-time greats? Because I think haters cannot talk bad about LeBron ever again after this. He carried them, unanimous MVP, wins it for Cleveland. He finally set out what he accomplished to do. Where did you rank him sort of on the all-time greats now?
I still don't have him ahead of Jordan yet.
No way.
No, but I think he's top 3 still.
Top 3, wow. Okay.
Top 5, I suppose.
I would say top 5.
Basketball, I never really have a prepared like top 5, but I would say he's in it. Jordan's still number 1 though.
Yeah, I think Jordan's number 1. I'd probably go Kareem 2. I'd probably have LeBron in my top 5 for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's done though.
No.
Do you think he can get to 6 with Jordan?
I'm not going to make that assumption. I have no clue. Who knows with how basketball is now?
Because he's chasing some of the greats. Like Kobe has 5, Jordan has 6. So he's getting up there now. He's one of, I think, only 2 players to win a Finals MVP on 2 different teams. Mm-hmm. I believe Kareem was the other one on the Bucks and Lakers. So he's chasing history. I don't think he's done though. I see LeBron winning at least another championship.
Okay. I can't argue with that. I could see it easily.
Well, he's been in the league a long time. He's 31 years old now. He's still young.
Yeah.
He's 31. He's played a lot of basketball, but I wouldn't say he's necessarily in the prime of his career anymore. I just think he's probably on the downward spiral of that.
Apparently, athletic prime for males is like 29 to 34. Like that's when you're done growing, your body, your body length and all that stuff. Like you're most likely to have the full potential of your athletic ability.
Okay, so we'll have to see what happens. I would say LeBron's probably some of his best years were like the start of Miami days when he was just dominating. So he had a great series. So he's still in tip-top shape, top of his game. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to see. They win the championship. Maybe we'll have to see if there's any changes. Kevin Love's a max guy. We talked about on the show before. Maybe he is not a member of the team anymore. I think it's going to be hard to trade him with that contract, but maybe we'll have to wait and see what happens. So, and then they could go on free agency, and then LeBron could not even come back to Cleveland. So
yeah, it's something we're going to have to keep an eye on.
Supposedly the Lakers are in the mix for LeBron. I see LeBron coming back, signing another 1-year deal because LeBron's going to opt out of his contract.
Just keep signing 1 years.
Yeah, because he's like LeBron really needs it, but he's going to get a raise every year, so he's going to become a max guy. So the CBA is going up. Like LeBron really needs it. I mean, we did our Forbes top 100 list, and he was number 3. He signed a $1 billion Nike shoe contract for life. Like, he really needs a pay raise, but of course he's going to take advantage of it, and of course he deserves it. Mm-hmm. LeBron probably deserves the most money of any NBA player.
Yeah.
So I think he goes back to Cleveland. We'll have to see what happens if Kevin Love's there. Maybe they try and change some pieces around. It'd be tough because they did win the championship, so why break something that you just did? Just to accomplish championship. So I don't know, but LeBron's legacy, like, literally stamped with this one for the Cavaliers winning it.
I agree with you. I mean, it's just he finally won one for Cleveland. So
yeah, and it's been in such a drought, 52 years.
I honestly just that's the reason I expect him to lose, just because it's just that drought.
Like it's like they're cursed, like kind of like the Cubs, the Red Sox. Not anymore, but the Red Sox were until they won in 2004. But yeah, kind of like the Cubs now. So
I was like, it's just going to be Cleveland again. It's going to get so close, and yet so far.
That fourth quarter when they were tied at 89 with 4 minutes left. Oh, man, I was on the edge of my seat because we mentioned earlier in the show, they weren't scoring for like 3 minutes until Kyrie hit that 3 under a minute left. And then I was like, oh, wow, like, I think this game's over now.
Yeah, it's definitely an impressive way to end it.
Yeah, and, oh, man, that was such a good game. I'm happy it was actually a close game for once in the series because every game was such a blowout. And in Game 7, they finally had a competitive game, a close game, and really ended the series well. So credit to that, I guess.
Yeah, and a fun thing for all the dad Cavs fans on Sunday.
What do you mean?
It's Father's Day.
Well, yeah.
I'm saying that's cool for them too. You know, see their favorite team win on Father's Day.
Yeah, and the city was going crazy. They kept showing back to the fans who were watching outside in the arena, partying in Cleveland. They had like coverage in Cleveland. They were going crazy out there.
Yeah, they had the fan gathering or whatever at their arena.
Yeah, it was. I'm happy for Cleveland. I'm happy for LeBron. Credit to LeBron James. I think he's already one of the all-time greats, and he's not even finished yet. So I'll have to see what else he can do here to wrap up his career. I still got, I say 6-7 years good basketball. So
I agree with you. Speaking of Father's Day on Sunday, our next episode we talk about the U.S. Open, which concluded on Sunday.
I feel bad for the U.S. Open.
We'll get to that.
Because I feel like no. Like I feel like
if you
watch like media coverage on Monday, you would feel like U.S. Open didn't exist on Sunday and like baseball didn't happen. All you got was the finals.
Yeah, same kind of thing after the Super Bowl.
I felt bad for them.
But we're going to cover that. We'll update you guys on what occurred in the U.S. Open. Speaking of basketball, like this entire show, we will cover a little bit of the NBA draft here, and then we'll talk about the upcoming ESPN body issue.
Yeah, ESPN, the magazine's body issue, the athletes were revealed today, so you have a good idea. There's a lot of different names here, some notables, so we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, and so we're going to go ahead and leave you guys behind now. But as always, you guys can find us on Twitter. If you use the hashtag GSMC Podcast Network, we will see your tweets, of course. If you can always see our tweets at Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, GSMC_sports on Twitter, and on Instagram, on Facebook at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, and on our website at gsmcpodcast.com. As always, I am Alex.
And I am Ben.
And we will see you guys on our next episode. See you later.
Bye, guys.